guest.
All right, we're there. Yeah, let's go with a guest. A co-host.
Co-host.
A co-host. Hey, everybody.
Hiya.
Welcome. It was a super late notice today, so we'll probably have a little bit of a light group in the chat. But I actually just realized that this is probably my last stream of the year, both on mine and on these Learning Laravel ones, together with my friend and co-host whose name I'm terrible at pronouncing. Can you say hi to the people, friend and co-host whose name I'm terrible at pronouncing?
My name is Zuzana. Well, she knows it wrong.
That's not it.
Come on. Zuzana is the proper way to say it, but now all the English-speaking people say differently. They put it just in the second syllable, so everyone calls me differently, and that's fine.
Hey, everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. So what I did here was I copied the to-do next time notes from last time. Oops, I'm supposed to have this. Oh, you can't see this now. Yeah, okay. Phew. Okay. Let's actually start sharing. And so I took all the notes from last time of things to do and moved it into here for what we're going to be working on today. We won't necessarily do all these. We'll actually talk through these. But one note modification here is that Zuzana actually talked to Adam from Neo4j, and he said two helpful things for us. One of them is that NeoVis in production is probably not going to happen, so let's just disable it in production for now. And second of all, fixing it will probably be some kind of modification to use a different library. You said that it was based on another library, right? And so we could either hook directly into that?
Viz.js.
Viz.js,
okay. Yeah, Viz.js.
Okay. And then, I actually wrote it right here, Viz.js. And then, or there's this option of creating API results that are consumed by for NeoVis. So what I'm thinking right here is basically this is all next time. This is probably not going to happen right now. Let's kind of push this down the road and let's primarily work on the stuff we're working on before, which is kind of getting the relationships right. Joe, thank you so much for hanging out for a bit. Stream looking crisp. Glad to hear it. Hey, John. Hey, Sam. And other folks. Okay, so yeah, the idea is, I think, kind of figuring out this inferred relationships and then hooking things up to the user interface. I think are probably the first places we want to start. And you also got some code from Adam right here that shows us how to infer these relationships, which I'm super interested because I feel like some of this is just going to be beating our heads against code, but this one's like an actual like foundational concept of how to do things with Neo4j. So let's take a look at this real quick and see, because remember we said we wanted siblings, right? And we had not built out sibling relationships. Yeah. So let's do that. Yeah. Let's try infer sibling relationships on the person show page using the collect method from Adam. I feel like that could be a really good first step, right? Because right now the only relationships we have on the individual person's show page is the direct relationships, not the inferred ones. So why don't we try that out? Okay, so what we want to do is open this up and find where are we actually doing that NeoVis stuff. Do you remember what was it called? Graph?
Yeah, no. Oh, I mean the page, graph page, yeah. Uh-huh. And then you've got the query in seed some data.
But it's no, you know what? Sorry, it wasn't that. It was the people show page that we're looking at, though. They're defined in seed some data, but the people show. Okay, cool. So we've got this concept of relationships here, but these are direct relationships, and we also kind of have the idea of inferred relationships. So we'll probably want to group them, but let's just kind of do this right now and see inferred friends. And then we want to use this to pull in that code that you were talking about there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he even gave us the example of siblings here. So inferred friends equals app session. And remember, somebody asked last time, what's this session class? That's just basically Neo4j. You know what we should do? We should this as Neo4j.
Yeah.
All right, so we want to run this, right? So let's take a look at what we're doing here. Match parent of child, return from the child as siblings.
So what we need to change, because I think in the code we've got it as child of, not parent, because not everyone's going to be a parent of somebody, but everyone is a child of somebody. So we need to fix this.
So this thing right here says, is this the children of... Wait, hold on. Because this is not the siblings, right?
So what I did locally, I just created 4 nodes.
Uh-huh.
And I did just test nodes. And 2 of these nodes were a child of 1 node.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I ran this query, I did get the 2. Hold on, where is it? I still have it up here. I got a table with the name of the parents, me, and then siblings, which was the name of the 2 siblings. So the thing is, I looked at it too late, and I didn't have enough time to look into it properly. So I don't know exactly how it works.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is that it seems that we need to be able to, in order to use this kind of lookup, we need to have the parent. But what we really have is the child, and we want the other ones. So it seems like this collect thing really just allows you to group, which interestingly might solve this problem we're having before, where you remember we were getting a whole bunch of instances of P and friends.
Yeah.
I wonder if we did... you know what? That might let us fix that problem. So instead of match P person dash friends and return P and friends, what if we did match friend and then collect friend as friends? Maybe that solves that problem.
Yeah.
Because I remember that was pretty janky last time. All right, so what's our URL here? People 1?
Don't you need to log in? Oh, you don't need to log in. Okay.
Hey, that's exactly what we needed. So anybody who wasn't here last time, when we got 3 friends back for this person, it would give us 3 entries, and each entry would have the person and then a friend. And the next entry would be a person and a friend. The next entry would be a person and a friend. And I said, it feels like there should be a way to collect those 3 friends together. And that's exactly what this is here. We now have 1 entry that's a person, and then 1 entry that is an array of friends. So that's exactly what we needed, not in terms of the siblings, but at least in terms of collecting them. So now we can rework all of this code to basically just say the person equals, okay, so first person key equals friend key. I guess, do you remember what the command was for get? Was it like get first record or something?
First record. It was just first record without the get.
All right, so yeah, so it's got the keys. Okay, cool. So we can do this. Oh. So results. So we want to get P out of, I don't know what happened there. Oh, it did on all of them. Okay, so we're getting the person key by saying what ID is attached to P, and then we're getting the friend key by saying what ID is attached to friends. So we should basically have now 0 for person key and 1 for friends key. And then from there, we can now say, give me the person out of here. Last time we had to do all this mapping, but now we should just be able to say friends equals results values, and then friends key, friend key. I don't know what I did there. Drop all this mapping, and then since we're doing this, we should be able to just grab this here and grab this here, and hopefully this drastically simplified everything, even though we don't have inferred friends like we thought we might. I don't know what this typo is on here. What's the searches the array? Yeah, but what's my squiggly about? There should be no calls to die and dump. There are none. Why are you squiggling? Oh, okay. I just hit save and it stopped doing that. Okay. All right, cool. So that cleaned this up a lot. It feels like there should be a cleaner way to get those like those array keys out of those, but whatever. So this hasn't solved our sibling problem though. So
well, but isn't it? Because like I said, like when I ran it, okay, I didn't run exactly the same query you've got there, but when I just tried it with 1 parent and 2 kids, and then or 2 children, and then I printed it out, I did get, array of siblings.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it works, but I did do it.
Well, but you were doing that search based on the parent, right?
Yes.
So we need to be able to do a search based on the child, preferably.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is what we need. So right now we're on Kane's page and we want to be able to find Abel. So right now we have his parents here. So what we kind of want to do is do a match of a match of a match, which we might be able to do this. So let's say...
Why don't you There's a second snippet I gave you.
Oh, okay.
That's we want to know the sibling of a particular
That's
person,
exactly what I was trying to write. Nice work. All right. If only I had actually read everything that you put in there, maybe it would have been fine.
If only I understood what I sent you. I wish I took time to do it, but.
All right, so inferred friends is really going to be, for now it's just going to be siblings. And that might be, we might have to manually do each inference rather than assuming we can just have one giant kind of group of, inferred friends. So let's just do siblings. Okay, so match person, and let's return sibling. All right, so we're not going to match based on their name. We're instead going to match on their... I feel like we can both pass in P:\Eloquent ID, or we can do this where. I don't know whether it matters which way you do it. I kind of imagine that the syntaxes are the same, but let's just try this way just to see, if there's one we like better. Yeah. So instead of name Kane, what we want is Eloquent ID equals person ID. And then so we're basically saying match whoever their parent is and assign them to parent. And then from there, who else are they siblings with? I'm curious whether, can we collect sibling as siblings? In order to test this, we probably will need to seed some data and add a third sibling there. So we'll do Cain, Abel, and Josephina. I don't know who that is. I'm just making her up.
Does not sound very biblical, to be honest.
Probably not. I know that they had other siblings. No? I just don't know any of their names. So
yeah.
All right. So okay, cool. So Josephina is now also a child of Adam and Eve. So let's do that. Okay. Oh. Refresh this. Didn't find any people. What did I do wrong? Does seed some data not? Oh, you know what? It's a command that I made. I don't know why I didn't just do this in the seeders. That would have been a very reasonable thing for me to have done. Okay, where's Josephina? Why is Josephina not existing here? Oh, because they exist both in Eloquent and okay, cool. So let's go over to Josephina and invalid input.
Yeah, it doesn't like the...
Oh, it's because I did equals instead of colon. So this right here goes like this.
I wish one day I'll be able to just look at it and know what I've done wrong. I mean,
well, one of the things is we're not going to be writing Cypher forever, right? Like the goal is to eventually actually use like a real SDK for this kind of stuff. And so at that point, it wouldn't be a problem, right?
Yeah.
In theory. All right. So, okay, cool. So we were able to get siblings, and it'd be really cool if there were two in here.
Can you zoom in a little bit on your browser?
Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're not getting any siblings back. Okay. So one of the problems here might have to do with the fact that I changed it. I did collect siblings, so let's just try this. But I wonder one of them has to do with the fact that we're actually talking about multiple parents, and I wonder how that breaks things. So match P person Eloquent ID is person ID, which is a little bit different syntax than this, so we might have to go back, but let's kind of assume that's working correctly first. And then return collect sibling as siblings, and it's saying if they have a parent and the parents of a sibling. So it feels to me like that should be working. We definitely know that Josephina shares parents, shares two parents, not just one, with Cain and Abel. So what can we debug here? You know what we could do is we could go to here. Oh, that didn't work. Neo4j desktop. Neo4j browser.
Oh, we got it running, actually. That's one thing we should have checked.
Yeah, I think it'd be an error saying it's not running otherwise, right?
I don't know.
Okay. So how do we find all people? Is it just match star? But gotcha, it's not that easy. Nope.
Oh god, I've got it somewhere. My memory is so bad.
Yeah, same.
You say same yet. The difference between you and me is,
All right, knows friends, play Cypher, play concept, match end person. Here we go. Match end person. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's replay this. How do I? Is this replay maybe? Oh, okay. So it puts it up there and then I hit play. Okay. So why do I only see... Oh, nope, that wasn't what I wanted to replay. Okay, match. I'm just going to do this. End person. Does that work?
Then don't you have to
return end? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we've got all of them. Let's look at these relationships and see what they're actually correct. So Adam and Eve are married, and all of the children are child of both. So the relationships are set up correctly. So Josephina is Eloquent ID of 5. So let's come here and say Eloquent ID of 5, and then see, do we get the results correctly? Okay, so it is correctly incorrect. So let's see if we can do this. What do we do if we just ask for that parent? Nothing. Person. That's weird. Oh, it's because we probably use child. We use child of. The example he gave is using parent of.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So let's turn this over to child of. And then I don't fully understand Cypher. Is it like this? Let's just try it. Nope. I don't know. I don't know what that backwards arrow thing is. I don't think I remember having seen that. What happens if we just drop it? Okay, nothing. Yeah, see, these ones don't have the arrow at all. It says match a person married to friends. So what I feel like we're doing right here is match person child of parent where Eloquent ID equals 5 return P parent. Hey, Manuel. Oh, and hey, Aris, I didn't see you there. Why is that? I don't know why that's not working. Well, that's why. There's some very simple thing here that I'm missing.
I think it will be something to do with the brackets. You have to put I think so. It seems that normally the names or the labels are not just free floating like that.
You mean like that?
I think where are you?
No,
around the p.eloquent ID. I think try it in there first. Because you see the P person is in.
Yeah, it's just this one right here. You see how this one's working, and we're saying where p.eloquent ID equals, and then the 5. So I thought that was going to work. Match P person. Man, this is so strange. The provided label is not in the database. Eloquent ID. Okay. Eloquent ID. Is there a typo in there that I'm not noticing? A person that has an Eloquent ID, but when we were down here, Josephina has, you can look down there, has something named Eloquent ID. So there is certainly an Eloquent ID label. So what's going on here? All right. Would this give us a query?
Try to put P eloquent ID equals 5 in braces.
Yeah, and you mean inside the person? There's a typo. Great. Where's the typo? Thank you.
Well, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
No, someone named L Pexoto 2000 says there's a typo in the chat.
Oh.
That'd be great. Switch colon with period. Oh, it's colon in one context and period in the other. Thank you. Thank you. That's what we needed. And by the way, my co-host's suggestion would have exposed that problem. Okay, so now we have the basic select working fine. Let's see if we can get this working. Oh, man. Simple stuff. Match P person, child of parent, where P.eloquentID equals 5. All right, there is one thing where this doesn't have the quotes around it, so let's see if that fixes that.
Yeah. And put the P.eloquentID in braces and the 5. No, you don't need to do that. It should be there.
I think that using the where statement here or putting them in braces in here is the same thing. I think they're two. Okay. It's just a shorthand to write the same thing. So I'm extracting it just because where looks more like SQL query language, so it's a little more familiar. So okay, so match P person, child of parent, where P.eloquent return P and parent. So look, they are now getting somebody's parents. We're getting somewhere. So now let's try and modify this query to look a little bit more. Oh, look, this is why. Look, we were still using parent of there. How do we do parent of sibling? Because we need to basically do... So his original code sample he sent us was parent of. But now we need to do it the opposite way. Child of in either direction. After the parent, down to the other children. That's what I want, but I want to do child of in both sides. Let's see if we just put child of in both sides and then play around with those arrows that he was using. Maybe that's the whole directional aspect of it. Child of sibling. And then where P parent sibling. There's probably going to be a collect on that. There's going to be something wrong. Oh! Maybe that was it. Okay, so let's drop the parents for now. Okay, so if we do this, I believe we have gotten all the siblings of P person. Yep, and that's right. Look at that.
Nice.
All right, so what we have is person. In this particular context, it's back in the braces, way you're suggesting. Child of parent, child of sibling. There is an arrow there, which I'm going to get rid of because we don't have an ours. And then and now we're going to test this idea. If you collect sibling as siblings, do we get them in a single array? Let's hope so, and then in line with that hope, let's call it first record and then see what we get. Siblings. Okay, I did make some modifications in here, so let's just try this exact code for now. Oh, I hadn't done the collect, so let's just try return sibling and not shortcut ourselves. Hey, Jonas. All right. Back to here. Okay.
Empty.
All right, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to copy paste it exactly as we have here, and see if that works. Okay, so that is exactly what we would, well, not exactly. So now let's see if modifying this to use the collect will help. Siblings. Okay, so this is working correctly. So what was wrong with that code we had before? We were using the brace thing in here, so maybe I had done that wrong. All right, yeah, so we have all these people in here. So in theory... Oh, was it purely because I had done first record? I hope not. Nope. Okay. So since there's only one thing that we're returning there, we could say, give me the only one value out of result values, which we do with reset. So let's just try reset siblings values and see. I don't know if you can run reset on the result of a method call. Yep, only variables should be passed by reference. Okay. So what if I literally just do that? Is that what we want? Okay, cool. So now we have, it's ugly, but we have our siblings by pulling them out of the values method and then getting the zero keyed index result. Okay, look at that. So now if we come in here, we can say what was that? The people show page. And my mic is pushing me further and further back, and I'm not even noticing it. Jeez. Okay, so wow. Oh my goodness. All right, cool. So we've got double siblings because they are related through the same parent. So we can do some work later to say, well, how many parents do I have? And that can define whether it's a full sibling or half sibling. But we at least were able to... let's see, what have we done? We reworked basic relationship select to use collect, not PHP collect, but Neo4j to simplify the consuming code. We built sibling selector and sent basic non-deduplicated data to the view. Cool. So that's this one right here. All right.
Yeah.
So we talked about refactoring that page, potentially pulling in the SDK. We also talked about showing relationship types on that page, but then we also talked about allowing for creating people in the UI. I don't know about you, but I'm actually kind of more interested in that than I am more show data. But I don't know about you. How do you feel? Do you want to keep working on this page or want to create stuff?
Let's create stuff. Let's do something different.
I like it. More comfortable with VS Code.
Basically.
Yeah, I am slowly getting more comfortable with VS Code, but it's still struggle bus over here. So, all right, so let's commit. Why is it? Oh, my doc is over there. Okay, cool. So let's...
Why have you switched to VS Code if you don't like it?
Why did I switch to it? A little bit because a lot of people at Titan are doing it, and there's a couple features that they're using that I like in terms of sharing sessions with each other. But really, there's actually literally a channel in Titan Slack called "Convince Me to VS Code," where Caleb Porzio started trying to convince everybody to do it. And Keith and I were the two steadfast Sublime Text users. Quite a few other people use PHP Storm and stuff. But honestly, the number one thing that convinced me to switch was the fact that the Vim plugin that I use in Sublime Text is just totally gone to crap. And all of my normal key bindings weren't working anymore. It hadn't been for several months. And I finally just caved. And it just kind of seems like everything in VS Code, including the plugin ecosystem, is getting way more love, including, I think, because everything's written in JavaScript rather than Python, so it seems a lot more accessible. So I still love Sublime Text for life, but I don't have things that are broken all the time like I was starting to have in Sublime Text. So, all right, so what do we do here? We pull in sibling relationships on people show page. Dustin, what do you use? All right, so we were going to so have we actually created the people create page yet or no?
No, I don't think so.
So let's do that. All right, where would you start? Co-host.
Hold on. So where are we gonna?
We're gonna build a user interface for them to go to a form and create a new person.
Once you log into your account, when you land on the home page, that could have a link to create a new person, view the tree and all that. What do you think?
Okay. Oh, probably because it's not seeded. I thought I had seeded a...
You did, though. Or you might...
It's possible I don't have... Well, I might not have one in the database seeder. Yeah, there's nothing in there. Let's see if I got that size shell thing fixed. PHP Storm's great, is also slow. Absolutely. That's why I used PHP Storm for years and it just got too slow. Now that I have an iMac, I downloaded it and wanted to use it again, but just never took the time to get back into it. I think I'm going to actually, instead of doing this, I'm probably just going to go... Yep, I'm just going to go add a seeder for it. Why not? John, I will sell my children before you pry PHP Storm from my hands. Well, I will not try to pry PHP Storm from your hands. User class create. Do you want me to seed one for you or no? Because that would make your email address public to the internet.
No, just you can just use yours.
Okay. Oop. I think that might be all we need. And also, why are we not... I gotta learn how to do that. Okay. Do you have any opposition to just running the seed some data command in here?
No. Should I have?
No. I'm just wondering why I didn't do it. I think we can just new it up and then run the handle method probably. There's other ways to call them, but I think that will work. I'm not actually sure if that'll work. Let's just try it and see what happens. Because the constructor isn't the handle method. Man, what is the cleanest way? Is it like console, artisan, run? Anybody know off the top of your head? I wrote it in my book and I can't remember. Call, maybe? Maybe that's what it is. Let's try that. Artisan call, Jonas. Thank you. Yeah, you don't actually... Hey, Sam. John, you don't actually have to have children. It's just like Dustin said. You're selling to the Rumpelstiltskin future rights to the children if you're to do that. All right, cool. We're logged in. So you mentioned having a create page. So where would you go from here to add that link? I'm just pushing you in your Laravel comfort.
Oh, okay. I have to switch now. I would go to home. I mean, we're on homepage, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. So where's that view?
Yeah. Well, it's on the... I just saw it on the right, but because there's a delay.
Oh, sorry.
By the time I get this, blade, home.blade.php. Right. Now you teach me what's the best way. I mean, I would probably just create a few links there, but I think, isn't it better to have partials? Or at what point would you create a partial? Or I don't know.
So I would always create the simplest possible cruddy view of it. And so to me, it would be, oh, look at this. We already created the create method. There's a route for it. You just can't get to it. So let's go there and see what that looks like. Ooh, person.create. Was that not what I named it as? Oh, people.create, of course. Yeah, so the first thing I would do is just create a link to a page and then make that page...
work.
Yeah, exactly.
And then refactor it, split into partials and so on.
If you need them. To me, you split something into a partial if you're going to reuse it somewhere, and you don't do it until you do reuse it somewhere. So like if you want it to be on the dashboard, sure, you can make it a partial. But until you decide, yep, I definitely want it embedded there, you don't even worry about it.
Okay,
all right,
cool.
So the route is defined, but then it says 404 people controller at create view. It's maybe because that view doesn't exist. Yeah, it's because the view doesn't exist. So create.blade.php.
I do have to say that quite a delay between you and me. So if people just looking blank, I do know this stuff. No
worries. Yeah, my internet is especially bad today. I was trying to do interviews earlier and everything was just falling apart. Okay, so 404 not found on the people/create route. Why is that? Routes web.php. Prefix people. URL create. People create. People controller at create. Why is it 404ing? All right. People.
Have you returned the view?
Yeah, I thought so. And even if it wasn't returning a view, it shouldn't be 404ing, right? It should be right here.
Have you saved everything?
Probably not. The wildcard people route before is calling the files 404. Yeah, so it's you got to do the create route. If you're doing an individual route like this, you got to put it above it because this right here is going to match everything. And so it's looking for a person with the ID of create and doesn't find it, and they're 404s. Thanks, Alex.
Okay.
Yeah, anything with these wildcards, you got to watch out for them and try to put them down at the bottom. Of course. Yeah, thank you so much, Alex. Good catch. All right, to do, add a form here. Great. So we've got people. We can also throw up a button there if you want in the people page. So it'd be in the people index page, and then right here you could say something like, so this would have to be authenticated only, users only. So this would be the auth guard. Nope, not a user, but a person. Like that, and then you'd put your styles on it, which would be something like, oh man, I don't even know the best way to do that in these days. Is it float right, or do you know these Tailwind styles for floating things, buttons right?
No, but I'll find out. Just a minute.
Nope. I will knock my mouse off the desk while we're at it. That's what it was, float right.
Oh, come on. You're way too bad. Like,
why is it not working?
give me a chance. Yeah. You've done it. You did right, by the way. Okay, just in case you wanted to know.
Thanks. Flex just. I want to be able to do it without. Well, that's weird that we have that. That's right there. Oh, I guess on below large, it's just going to the full with the thing. I'd rather not have to worry about Flexbox if I could. Why is it not float writing okay? Or is it? Oh, it's in a Flexbox thing. I'm going to be honest with everybody. Flexbox is not natural in my brain yet. Every time I hit Flexbox, I have to stop and kind of reprocess things. I will try that, Jonas. But if Flex Justify Start doesn't work, which I don't, I'm assuming that's not what you mean on the button itself. Yeah, we're gonna ignore that right now, and then just style this better later. To do style this better later. Cool. All right, so this is going to be a link. I don't like that, but okay. All right, so this is going to be that same spot, route people.create. You click on that, and it takes you over here. Okay, cool. So on the people page, if you're logged in, you should see that button. On the people page, if you're not logged in, nope, not test people, but test/people. You're not going to see the button. Great. All right, so now we have to make a form. So this is the interesting thing. We have to figure out not just how to create the person, but how to create them both in Eloquent and the graph database, and how to figure out how does somebody define the relationships in here. And it means you probably need to be able to have as many relationships as you want in here. Thank you for following Dustbin123. Sam, I see that you're saying ML auto to push to the right, but that's not all I wanted. I also wanted it floated up in here, and so it's just not worth fighting about right now. Somebody could PR it later if they want. GitHub.com/Zuzana_K/.
Oh, it's my full surname.
It's full name.
Because Zuzana K was taken.
There's a link in every one of the YouTubes. I put a link to it.
By the way.
It's easy. GitHub.com/Zuzana Kunckova/family-tree. Maybe?
Yes.
Cool. No, page not found. Family_tree.
Then it would be then a dash. Was it? Hold on. Oh god, I should read it now. Yeah, it's dash.
Dash in your username?
Yes. Yeah, my username, yes.
All right, there you go. Family-tree. There you go. So somebody can come in here and pull request it if they want. Germany, say hello. Hello, Germany. Okay, so we have 36 minutes. No, we don't. We have 20 minutes. Jesus, the timeline to try and get this thing working. So let's do it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start building a really rudimentary Laravel form. What you could do, and this is both you co-host and also you people in the chat, is start thinking through how we're going to modify this people controller store thing to start writing this syntax. So like basically the insert cipher from seed some data, like basically this right here. Let's start thinking through this thing right here. Well, it's really this create person method. So we got to think about where should that live? Hey, Percy. John says if you have create child or create parent on the person page, it simplifies the creation. Definitely does. Yeah. And I think that's where we're going to go from there is create. But you'll still need to add other aspects of the relationship because even if you create child, no, maybe that's a better idea. No, because I think it's still going to need to be a form in here. I think that's a shortcut to this. So, okay. So anyway, start thinking about where this should be. Do we create the Neo4j things as a hook on Eloquent whenever an Eloquent object is created? Do we have a command that we use to create both at the same time that takes those sorts of data? What does it look like for us to consistently create and modify these two in sync with each other? So you can think about that, you in the chat, and I'm going to start building out this nasty form, and hopefully I can put the responsibility on you and making the hard decisions while I do the easy, lazy things. All right. Also, if anybody's got an easy pre-made Tailwind form that you like, throw that code over here. All right. My vote is put the Cypher on the Eloquent boot created. Yeah, John, you mentioned that last time. It's definitely one of the options, for sure. All right, was there a form reset on Tailwind without using that Forms plugin? If not, we might just need to use the Tailwind Forms plugin. I was just trying to avoid that because I feel like getting that added could be a little bit of a hack. Oh, here, there we go. Check it out. Let's just use this. This is not exactly how I would want to do it in this one. I wanted it a little bit simpler, but let's just grab this right here. Just see. Well, we can even use that MB4 and drop the BRs. I would want to do that anyway. Okay, cool. So this is going to be name, blah, 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 blah. Jeez, there's so much going on here. Name. Hook on create makes the most sense. That's where all the votes are going. Okay, cool. And then we can grab this button here, which is the sign in button right there. I think, how do you do, I'm trying to remember. I think if there's a button and not an input type submit, I think it just saves as the submit button. I think that's how it works. Although that doesn't seem to be working, so maybe I'm wrong. There's a way to make this be a submit button. Maybe you can say button type of submit. Maybe that's what it is. There you go. Cool. That's what it is. Okay. All right. So we've got a name, and then we've got the additional potential of multiple relationships that you're defining in here. And that always gets complicated because you've now got an array of relationships that you're defining, and that array needs to have JavaScript that allows you to add as many as you want, because you might be saying like child of this person and child of that person at the same time. So I feel like maybe the first thing we should do is create a single. You can only define one relationship when you're creating and go from there. Would you rather build that first and then go in and do both of the creates, or would you rather create just a name with no relationships, get it hooked in working in Cypher, and then go back and add the relationships?
That would be my way of doing it. Yeah, just start simple, easy. I don't want to say easy because I don't know if it's going to be.
Not actually easy. Yeah, for sure. Jonas, are we storing the data in both MySQL and Neo4j? Yes. It's possible that we eventually get to the point where it doesn't get stored in Eloquent at all. But right now, that's what we're doing. So, okay. So
why do we need Eloquent at the moment? At the moment, the only reason why do we need only for the user?
I think the biggest reason was because a user is also a person. And so we wanted to be able to understand your Eloquent ID very easily and look up the people related to you. One of the things that I remember Keith saying was that lookups and individual entity lookups is very slow. But it's possible that, it's possible that what we do is instead store the Neo4j ID on each user so that we don't have to create duplicates of people who are not actually users. And it seems to me like that was a decision that we said we were going to make like right now. So it might be time to make that decision and flip that relationship over and instead say, if I'm going to create my mom in here, we don't need to create a user for her, because otherwise we need to. And and that's an actually interesting point. Are we relating people or users to the Neo4j records right now? Because I think we have a person class. Yeah, we have a person class, which is different from the user class anyway.
Yeah,
right?
User is just whoever signs up.
Yeah. So
right?
Let's assume that later we want to relate a person over to the Neo4j. We might not need, or sorry, user. We might not need the person one at all, honestly.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, are we going to pass a Neo4j ID directly to the URL? What do those even look like? Yeah, it's just an ID. So that we'll have to do a quick modification to make that work. But it sounds like a good idea. Sounds like you like it too?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to have to hit the brakes for a second and rework everything to do that. Take first steps toward a create form. And so what we're going to need to do right now is rework this whole thing to ignore people or ignore Eloquent entirely, and instead just get the Neo4j ID. Except for lookup when you're visiting the page, if lookups are slow, is it really that slow? I kind of think that it's probably not going to be that slow if we do a lookup based on the Neo4j ID. It would be cool if this told us how long something had taken to run here, so that we can do a test on like how long each of these queries take to run. But the good thing about Git is if we discover this is a horrible idea, we can go undo it, which is why I just committed right now.
By the way, there should be something, because at least in my case, I am saying like started streaming one record after 10 milliseconds, completed after 11 milliseconds. It should be where you see displaying 2 nodes, 0 relationships in that area.
You see time on yours? Weird.
Yeah.
Why does mine not show time?
It might be just depending on the query you run as well. I don't know.
Could you try running one where you look up the same person both by their Eloquent ID and their graph database, their Neo4j ID, and see if the speed is the same on your local?
Right, which was the query, the one you've got on the top? I don't think it's going... Oh, where have we gone? There's a delay.
Yeah.
Delay. Okay, this one. Okay, hold on.
All right, so I'm actually going to go delete this person class entirely. Neo4j is good for the tree, but SQL is better when you are simply adding gender, date of birth, Facebook, Instagram, etc. You don't need to hit Neo4j when you're just looking at a person in isolation. However, is there any cost to just using Neo4j for all that data, John? That's the big question for me. Let's assume that we're going to have a Neo4j record for every person, and we have an ID that we can use for them. Is there any cost to pulling that structured data, gender, date of birth, Facebook, Instagram, out of Neo4j versus pulling that data out of Eloquent in that context? And if nobody knows, that's okay, because we're all figuring this out as we go. So,
can you show me the query again? Which one you want me to run?
Literally just select like the match person, the simplest one, not this complicated query. Literally just like match person where Eloquent ID equals 5 or whatever. All right. So the person class doesn't exist anymore, assuming this is going to be where it's going to be. So let's see what is actually... Oh, because it's going to be the people controller show. Method. Where's going to be person? That's probably going to be it. So let's look for person here. Well, this people index is definitely not going to work. It feels like it would make the entire database slow because you still need to have an entry point where you do more advanced queries too, is how I think at least. Well, the biggest question is we don't know that, right? So what queries do we need to be able to do in Neo4j? Right now we have this one which is select all people, which might be slow. We also need to be able to say select single person by ID. Those are the two things that we're currently using Eloquent for. And if those things can both be done performantly in Neo4j, then I don't know whether we have any problems. Now, I know that it's going to be slower for things like select all people where x equals y, but I don't believe we have any intention to do that, right now at least. So this would have to be basically redone. So replace with a select all query from Neo4j.
All I get is completed after 1 millisecond.
Both of them take 1 millisecond. Yes.
Yeah, that's not.
What if you select all the people in your database? All right.
I get started streaming 4 records after. Well, but I've got only 4 because our queries are not up to date. But it says again after 1 millisecond completed after 2 milliseconds.
Yeah.
It's not very descriptive, but it's something. But I don't know why you don't see it. Maybe, you know what? Click on the table. If you go back to Neo4j desktop, click on the table instead of the graph.
Oh, yep. After 1 milliseconds completed after 2.
There you go. That's where you see it.
So what we really, if we want to do this performance thing, it seems like we're about to write a whole bunch of code based on this. Let's go make a whole huge number of people really quickly. So why don't we do this? Really quickly, we're going to say, all right, for I equals 1, I is less than or equal to like 500 I plus plus. Wow, typing is hard. This create person. And then I think all we pass is a name. Yep. And so we can do app faker. Oof. What's the faker thing called? Oh my goodness. Anybody know the faker name? It's like faker builder something. We don't have faker in these ones yet. Faker generator. Thank you.
I feel so behind today, seriously.
It's because my internet is slow, and so the lag is really, really bad today. And then we need I think just a name, I think is how it works. All right, for me, it comes down to infrastructure, knowledge, and tooling maturity. We have Eloquent for Laravel versus raw Cypher for Neo, and that's your, yeah, okay. Fake tab, yeah, thanks. Unexpected M, expected N/N. What? Oh, it doesn't like the, I need to, it's generating things with single quotes and we're not escaping them. How would I, I'm gonna just do this. This is just, we're just trying to hack some stuff together here anyway, so. Okay, cool. So in theory, we should have a whole bunch of them. So let's say match p person, return p. This should give us all people. It takes about 6 milliseconds, 20 milliseconds to match all the people. Okay. And then let's do the same thing in Eloquent. Oh, app person doesn't exist anymore. I hope I don't regret trying to do all this manually. Let me guess, that's not going to be that easy. I typed something wrong. Oof, what did I do wrong? My concern is not for the performance of Neo4j. Okay, can you explain more what your concern is, John? I hope it does not take that long to insert 500 things into Eloquent. I'm curious that it does, though. Yep, that does take that long. Okay, so what we found, at least based on this, was that to return all 500 people, it takes 20 milliseconds in the user interface. That might not necessarily be how long it takes in the app. So, man, we're going to spend all our time on this one decision instead of building out the UI. Oh, well, it's a big decision, right? So let's try running these 2 queries. And because whether or not John's concerned with it, I am actually super curious. Where should we run them? All right, so we need a timer. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've done this. You do micro time or something like that, and then dd timer minus micro time. But then that gives it to you in the wrong time. Oh my goodness, I'm burning out on this. Somebody tell me to stop and go do something else. Yeah, that's not working. You ever done a timing thing?
No.
Okay. Dustin says tech debt brain cost. Yeah, see, the thing is, tech debt and brain cost, like right now, everything we do here is going to be based on Neo4j queries. Like, it's going to be very seldom that we do a query that does anything other than just get really rudimentary stuff. Like, even in the app we have right now, we haven't done anything on the people other than what we get back from Neo4j. So, okay. Pause. Google. Timing PHP code. I thought it was micro time, and then you subtract it, so I'm surprised.
Sorry, you said Google, but you go to DuckDuckGo.
That's my Google. DuckDuckGo is Google, yeah. But not quite as good, but not quite as evil.
Not good.
Yeah. Stop and go do something else. Yeah. Main tooling for Neo4j is not as mature in PHP. No good, well-maintained client and library, so I prefer to use Eloquent for the majority of things. Yeah, I get it. I think for me, like I get it, but in this particular app, this is like 99% Neo4j, right? Get our usage. What on earth? I just want a freaking... Yeah, see, this is the thing. This is what we've been doing for a very long time. And then you just divide it by 60. Maybe it's because I needed to pass in microtime true. I don't know. I feel like I'm losing my mind here. Okay, cool. Seems like that might potentially be such a small amount of number that it's not actually of any use, since it's literally... Oh, I did my minus the wrong direction. Sorry. Okay, so absurdly short amount of time for that. And then, oh, you know what? We might have to say get records. Okay, but super short amount of time, assuming that I'm understanding that correctly. So now let's say people equals db table people get. Is that it? She should have the DB facade accessible to you. Okay. Okay, so smaller amount of time, inconsequential differences though, at least at this scale. So, okay, as everyone so far has said, we're not going to worry about, although hey man, if we're going to actually work with this, why don't we do this on the index page? Okay, so, people equals I know we're running short on time, like, and basically out of it. So now at this point, I'm just trying to really quickly say, like, what can we do? All right, we do have a correct array of 500. Let's go back and get it down to a normal number. We don't have to seed some data because it's already seeding some data in there. Oops, seed some data is still the problem though. So let's cut that out. Okay, great. All right, down to a reasonable number of them. And now we're passing people in here. And then the view will error out because it's trying to call in it, but it's not a thing. So then let's go over to the people index page. And we're obviously just end this call basically having converted it to be all Neo4j. So rather than actually getting this create person route working. All right, so for each people as person, I assume that right here we're working with one of these. Yeah. So we're back in this. Oh, not this again. Every single one of them has all this junk. Ugh. This is one reason why working with it is no fun, because I think, I think this is where John was trying to talk about, is the fact that since we're not using the SDK, which we could be using later, getting simple properties off of this is a pain in the butt. That to me is more just because we're not using something like Keith's Eloquent thing. But to me, the solution there is more architect it the way you want and then use better tooling when it exists. Like right now, we're not even reaching for the best tooling that exists. Like, we're doing this in like raw Cypher, super janky. So what's the easiest way for us to get the ID off of this? Oh, key to index map. I wonder if that can be the solution to all of our array search lookups that we were dealing with. It's the inverse. But yeah, you know what? I just noticed it's interesting. We don't have the ID on each of these things.
Mm.
Why do we not get back the IDs? Well, that could be a reason that this fails. If you don't get an ID back but from something on its search, then not only is that going to be a problem here, but it'll be a problem in all the other places, because when you pull somebody back, you definitely got their Eloquent ID that we set. I was wondering if it was an identity, but it doesn't seem like there's anything in there.
Mm.
I assume it's going to be a method. Let's go to record view. Of course, we don't have that. See, this is one of the places where I'm struggling with VS Code, is how to dive into the vendor directory, because I don't have it indexed, and so we just don't get anything at all. So I'm assuming it's going to be under Neo4j, but it's not. Graph aware. All right, vendor, graph aware. Okay, here we go. Class, Neo4j source record view. Which one is it? Neo4j bolt, source record view. All right. There's nothing in here mentioning identity. And yep, the key to index map is just giving you the flip to make it easier to look up. So you got the keys method, value method. Oh, look at that. That would have been nice to know. There's a single value method that looks up the individual value for that thing, so you can do value name without having to worry about the key to index map. So we could do, basically for person, down here, I think we could say person equals results value P, I think, which is nice. But let's go back to what we're actually doing. We wanted to figure out how to get the ID. This is looking up values within the thing. Yeah, I kind of don't think that we get it back. Well, it's a good thing we committed. I'm going to say right now we're going to undo that decision. Is that okay with you?
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to keep everything. We took the first steps towards a create form. We are keeping everything duplicated in Eloquent. So the next step we would do in here is basically make this actually do something correctly. So let's take some notes about that. We built the beginnings of a create person form. There are IDs in Neo4j, yeah. You can see them when you open up the Neo4j desktop and you go to record, and it shows you the Neo4j ID like that. See down there it says ID of 259. So there's probably a way to get it. So that doesn't mean this is a final decision. This is just a, hey, we're out of time decision. And I think I actually might have a call in 10 minutes that I need to go get ready for. So build the beginnings of create person form, attempted, then reverted, removing the concept of a person in Eloquent. Problem being we couldn't couldn't type the Neo4j ID for a record. So things to do later, finish the create person form, and then with just name, and then update the create person form to allow multiple relationships defined, and then add shortcuts on the person show page to say something like create sibling, create child, create parent, create spouse, etc. Cool. You can do return P labels P to get the labels, I think. Okay, we'll have to try that. Oh, you know what? Let's just try that right now since you said it now. Match P person, return P labels P. That would be very interesting if that's the solution to all of this after I just uncommitted all of that. I'm not sure actually what the labels P did in the query result. Labels person. I don't know if that did anything that we needed. It's just saying it's giving their type when everybody in our database is a person, so I don't think that's a big problem for us now. Okay, cool. And then what are the things on what are we going to do today? Do we not get to most of it? The show relationship types on the okay, so grab those. One of the things we noted with there's more features available to us in the SDK, like the whole value method and stuff like that. So we can take a look at those. And we did figure out inferred relationships. Go team. And we are so close to a create page that actually functions. So, okay. So, good work. Good thinking. Thank you, chat. Thank you, as always, Zuzana. So, let's see. Guest pause. Does that work? All right, cool. So, this is it for the year for me. For those of you watching on YouTube, doesn't matter to you. But those of you watching live, that means that my co-host's solo stream will be the best place for you to see people coding for a while. And that one is without full surname because it's Zuzana K, right? Twitch.tv/ZUZANA_K. And go check that out, subscribe, and I will not be streaming at all until 2020. So thank you all for hanging out all the time. Chris Forrence just rated the channel. Oh, Chris, thank you. We are leaving now, but thank you for doing it anyway. You're a wonderful human being. Hey, everybody, we're literally just shutting off now, but we'll be back in 2020. And until then, for those of you who just showed up, check out twitch.tv/ZUZANA_K. And for the rest of y'all, I will see you all next year.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Stop stream.